Hello, and welcome to Chile Talks. This is where we thrive on spreading the truth with relevant and informed and in-depth analysis on Chile and Latin America. So, welcome if this is your first time. Remember to subscribe, like, and comment and share, and this way you will be helping us to spread the truth. Okay, today the question is Chile at war? It seems like a big question, but I think it's the relevant point, and I'll show you a couple of videos and you will see that it is an important question. And I'm not the only one to say this. Actually, President Piñera declared that Chile is at war. We are at war, and he has said this many times. But what does it mean exactly? Is it really like a real war? Well, let's look at a couple of videos that we have here. So this is near Santiago, downtown Santiago. A couple of days ago, I received tens of videos like this every day. So this is one of the main ones. As you will see, it looks like a battleground, right? It looks completely destroyed. There you have the carabineros, the local police, fighting in downtown. Very sad, very sad. What I'll show you here is in Reñaca. Reñaca is near the beach, so usually people go there in the summer, especially in this time of the year. It's been completely destroyed, but what is presumably a pacifist mob. And the reason why I'm showing this, it's because the person you see here on the right, that's John Cobbin. He lived in Reñaca, and he was going through the street. The mob confronted him, and this is a game that has become very repeated in the past week. So they stop your car and they make you dance. So you have to get down the car and start to dance. John Cobbin didn't want to dance, and he was armed. He had his gun, and he started shooting. He didn't kill anyone, but that was enough to get him in jail at least 90 days until the final decision of the court is reached. So this is, and as you see, Reñaca also looked like a battleground. I could show you tens of videos like this from all over the country. It is extremely sad. So, are we at war? It seems so, at least, if you look at the picture. So what's happening? What is really happening? Let's go back just last year, and what you'll see here is data from a non-governmental organization, the Multigremial, and this is terrorist attacks only in two regions, in 4 regions in the south of Chile. Just to put this into perspective, the 4 regions here are about the size of the state of Maine. They have about 2 or 3 million people. And just imagine the following statistics in a place like Maine. Okay, 57. This is 1 year. Okay, 57 trucks were burned down. 16 houses were burned down or destroyed. There were 15 churches burned down and destroyed. There were helicopters, 3 helicopters shut down, 3 centers of event, 3 woods, parks, national parks destroyed, schools, offices, tourism offices. All this in 1 year. And this has been going on for many years in Chile, and I think that's where everything started, because terrorists there used the Araucania region as a battleground and as a training ground as well. And they saw that the government would do nothing to stop them. In fact, the government just let it there. They never went into the region, and it was a state in this Chilean state. But it's not only this the southern part of Chile. This was done under the disguise of cultural and ethnic minority rights demands. But it's not only that. There's also a war that has been going on in Chile with organized crime and drug cartels, which have been infiltrating and getting into different parts of the Chilean government apparatus. So, for example, if you look at some recent news, this is from last year only. So, for example, this is the commander in chief of the Chilean army. He declared that there were weapon and arms trafficking and selling from military officials to drug cartels. So this was a huge issue, as you can imagine. But it's not only the military; it's also and mainly the Socialist Party. And I think this now we get into the main issue. So the Socialist Party has been especially since last year and since last elections, where it was discovered that some parts of Chile, especially in Santiago, where the Socialist Party had gotten a lot of votes, were actually taken by drug cartels, and it was found that drug cartels had agreements with some members of the Socialist Party, and none other than the president of the Socialist Party. And so last year and the year before, there started to be some kind of link that was discovered between drug cartels and the Socialist Party. But that didn't end there. So there were some investigations from the court system and the government, and in parallel, now this year, it was found that a group of judges in Rancagua, a small city near Santiago, it was found that 3 judges were involved in in dealing with drug cartels. One of these judges had committed suicide, and the 2 others, well, they were impeached, or they were removed from their office. So, as you can see, the drug cartels have infiltrated and have been getting into the Chilean government system for quite a while now. Here you see another person from the Socialist Party who was removed from his office. So this is an advisor to the Socialist Party who was removed because of his link with drug cartels. So what happened then? Fast forward to last September. The Rio Treaty nations agreed to sanctions against members of the Venezuelan government. What this means is that they recognize that the regime of Venezuela and of Nicolás Maduro is a threat to the stability of Latin America. And they also recognize that there's a link between the regimes of Nicolás Maduro, Venezuela, and drug cartels. The narco país, narco nación is the term that is commonly used. So, and by triggering this treaty, what happened is that they will start to investigate all the links between Latin America and Venezuela and the mafia, basically. Of course, this didn't fell very well with the Venezuelan government, especially that Piñera had some kind of a leading role here. The president of Chile likes to be at the forefront of international, um, international organization and be seen as a leader. That's why he was leading, for example, COP25 meeting, still leading. So the Rio Treaty was triggered, and of course, this was seen as a threat to Venezuela. Well, what happened then? Faced with an existential threat, the Sao Paulo Forum, which is basically as I mentioned in previous videos, basically the extreme left forum and coordination uh, instance in Latin America. So, what happened there? Faced with this threat from the Rio Treaty, they decide to go on the offensive and start to destabilize Latin America, including Chile. So this started with Ecuador, Mexico, and now Chile. So it's a full-blown offensive. So I'm not inventing anything here. The Organization of American States also has declared that this is the case. But now we can connect the dots more clearly, right? So what is happening now? Even President Piñera has recognized that there is foreign government intervention in Chile and in the unrest in Chile. He has gone into more details about this, but he has said that there is foreign government intervention many times. Well, the question is, why doesn't he expel, for example, the Venezuelan or the Cuban ambassador? That's a question that I still can answer. But let's look more precisely where that intervention comes from. So, for example, you have support from Cuban intelligence. So this has been recognized by people from the Cuban intelligence agency. And it has been recognized that there is an operation to destabilize Chile. But not only that, there's also support from extremists from Argentina. This was also detected by the government. Again, no one understands why this is not taken as a war if it has all the elements of it, right? But not only that, while in Chile you have unrest and chaos basically all over the place, what we have here is Russian military visiting Chilean military a couple of days ago. And at the same time, you have the leader of the far left party in Chile, that's Beatriz Sanchez there, who goes to Russia. Wonder what she's doing there. Okay, and during that time, while the country is in chaos, and Piñera and the United Nations is discussing that the police here is supposedly violating human rights, well, terrorist groups are taking advantage of the government's weakness, and they are getting stronger and stronger. So they're getting armed with traditional weapons. For example, they attacked a forestry complex in the south of Chile where there were a lot of explosives because you need to remove large portions of, wood and mountains and rocks. Well, those explosives are now in hands of terrorists. But it's not only that. There have been several findings of weapon trafficking in containers from the north of Chile. And again, nothing seems to be done. It's not only about traditional weapons. It's also about technology and modern welfare. For example, look at this graph. This is a graph of tweets. Here you have the period between the past 2 weeks mainly. What you have here are tweets per minute regarding certain hashtags. So thanks to our friends at ConnectiLab who did this, you can check this excellent report on the link below, and I'll put it on YouTube as well. you can see here that basically there are specific spikes, right? And some spikes are absolutely completely away of what would be the average or the expected average. So look at these, for example. These are, many standard deviations away from what one should expect. So this is the one of the protests. You had over 3,000 tweets per minute on that single hashtag, right? How can this happen? This should not happen. I mean, these are anomalies by definition. Um, and actually this is an anomaly detector by Facebook. So how does this happen? Well, this is technological welfare. They are using bots to influence protesters and influence media in in Chile. And I'm not inventing anything here. So if you look at the following graph, where you have, again, was prepared by Connecta Labs. So what you have here is a color graph of the main influencers, right? So these are the tweets related to protest and unrest, and each dot would represent a user, and the bigger the dot, well, the more influence he or she has, and well, the closer the dots here mean that these users tend to be more close. The interesting part here is that you have many influencers in Chile, which are under this circle here, right? You have one, two, three, and a couple of more here, but three main ones. But if you look at the influencers, the really big influencers, where are they? They are in Argentina. Look there. This one, this one. They're in Venezuela. Here, here, here. So you have at least half of the influence in social media that comes from foreign governments, for foreign countries. Argentina, Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua, all left-leaning, extreme left-leaning countries. So, I'm sorry, but we need to conclude here that there is a war, and this confirmed what President Piñera has said. There is a war. This confirms what the Organization of American States has said. There is a war, and the battleground is Chile, and it's certainly starting to look like that way. What's next? Well, there seems to be what is called a hybrid war, and not only in Chile but also throughout Latin America. I have hope. I think there is hope that as the extreme left drug-sponsored states were forced by the triggering of the Rio Treaty to launch this destabilization plan rather than waiting to choose for the moment that they would prefer. What I see is that they were confronted to an existential threat, and they had to launch this attack before what they would have liked, right? Well, it seems that the institutions in Chile were infiltrated by drug cartels, but it seems that they don't have the critical mass yet. So infiltrated by drug cartels and extreme left wing. But it seems that they don't have the critical mass yet. The good news is that there seems also to be good leadership in Latin America, at least from Brazil and from Trump in the US, because they have recognized the problem. Bolsonaro has recognized this problem right away, much more than Piñera has. The other good news also in the region is that Evo Morales is out of Bolivia. And well, he was at the head of one of the largest cocaine producing countries in the world. So this is a breeze of fresh air in a tsunami of bad news in general. So that's so my take on the region is that the region is stronger than one could expect. Chile, on the other hand, seems more volatile, at least for the moment. What can I say? Most people here are tired of vandalism and destruction, which is promoted by the left. But that has not translated into support for President Piñera. So people don't like the vandals or the extreme left, but they don't like Piñera either, which quite the opposite has happened. So Piñera's support level is around maybe 10% or 9%. Order and rule of law are still not restored in Chile. The videos I showed you are every day's. I received like tens of those every day. And well, the other thing, and police is likely to be further limited in their ability to use force as the government, the judicial system, and international organizations are over their throats. Basically, they are under extreme pressure not to use force to bring back order and the rule of law. Individuals, persons, everybody, the people, they are also discouraged from taking any protective action or measure, as recent court decisions have sanctioned with jail any use of weapons for self-defense, even when faced with violent mobs. So this is again the case of John Cobbin, who was being attacked by an angry mob who was throwing rocks and everything, and he couldn't defend himself. And his case, I mean, he had a gun with him, but I mean, this is what happened to him happens many times every day in Chile. The government is trying to buy peace in the streets by opening itself to a constitutional change. But the left has already made it clear that marginal changes are unacceptable and that they will only accept a Venezuelan-style constitutional assembly. So that's the clear objective of the far left in Chile. As such, it seems that most likely the medium outcome is a long and exhausting fight for both sides. Of course, this is extremely bad for the economy. We will certainly have a negative GDP growth over the next month. And what happens is that people who get poorer will start supporting the extreme left. This is what happened in Venezuela. Basically, the extreme left thrives on poverty. So, unfortunately, unless we see a strong change in Piñera's stance and in the government, which brings back order and the rule of law, the outlook seems unfortunately very bleak. Thank you for listening. Please comment and subscribe, as you will be helping us spread the truth throughout the world. Also, share this with your friends and anyone who could be interested. Till the next time. Bye-bye.